Here, they're outside changing. We're going to have the evening gown and tuxedo contest next. No, I like the inspirational message he made, but there's only one thing I didn't like. He said, man discover fire. It should be man and women discover fire. I'm going to just talk real quickly because it's 20 minutes here. Now, people always come into my office and they ask me, what is a will? What does it do? And what is a trust? Well, first of all, a will is the most simple thing in the world. You take out a piece of paper right now, you write down, when I'm gone. When I'm up in the big blue yonder.
Can I hear you?
Can't hear me? I hear you.
Wait.
Got a wireless mic there.
Hello.
Wireless?
No, it's okay, whatever works. So all you have to write down is, I'm gone, whatever. Everything goes to so-and-so. Cocktail napkin, hamburger napkin, anything. Just sign it and date it. That's as simple as a will can be. Now, a lot of people don't even bother writing it down because I'm not going to kick the bucket. Well, taxes and death are certainties. We are going to kick the bucket one day. I had a friend, he's 44 years old. We're sitting there having hamburger, and I said, hey, write it down. He goes, no, don't worry about it. Next month, a couple of my friends, mutual friends, we go, hey, have you seen him? No. Sent the police to his office, and there he was laying in his bed, conked out, dead. 44 years old. When they go to court, let's say a person passes away, the person goes to court, the family members, and they say, hey, look, here's a will. Or there's no will. The judge looks at it, and she will decide there is a will or there's no will. Once they decide either one, they open a probate. Once a probate is open, they do an inventory and appraisal. Now that's very important for real estate folks because the inventory and appraisal is done by the probate referees of the probate court. This is a value they give. A probate referee is actually an appraiser. Once they give the price and you represent the executor or the administrator in the sale of that property, you're going to have to come close to that price or justify a better, lower price, whatever it is. I'll get into that a little bit later. Once we do the inventory and appraisal, we figure out how much money there is in the estate. Then we also look for all the bills, the taxes, the credit cards, all those kind of things. Once both are done, then we have an accounting. This is how much money we came in with, this is how much money we spent, and judge, please approve everything. And once the judge approves it, we can make the distribution. Now for realtors here, it's very, very important. I tell my clients, don't make your kids joint owners of anything. Unless they can really, really, really get along. But that's usually impossible once they get married and they have different financial obligations. Some brother or sister might be 20 years older than the other. They're going to be in retirement. They don't mind to rent the house out, whatever. But the younger brother might need the money for the kid's college education. They need cash. Or what happens if the roof has a leak? And the sister puts in the money and the brother doesn't? Now what you have? The only way for them to get out of that situation is sue for partition. But that's why in probate, or in a trust situation, when someone passes away, I always encourage the family, sell the stuff. In most of the trust and wills I ever write, I write down, the executor or the trustee is instructed to sell everything. Because if the kids can actually get along, all they have to do is make an agreement, let's not sell. Right? They're adults, they're over 18 years old. They can make any agreement they want. They tell the executor, we sign off, we waive it, we don't want to sell this place. But if only one kid wants to sell, all they have to do is just say, I want to sell. There's no lawsuit involved. The executor is compelled to sell because it says so in the document. It is an absolute. So no one has to get into a fight. No one has to get into a partition sale. Once the accounting and the distribution is done, then the whole estate's done. But for realtors here, it is a boom period to sell homes that are in probate. They're actually very easy to sell. But the main reason is a lot of emotions taken out of it, the equation. is all numbers. And I tell you, the family loves cash. That dollar bill comes up there, they say, I want the cash. I don't want to be partners with my brother. I don't want to be partners with my sister. I want the cash. How does this thing work? I have to put it up there.
Yeah.
Hey, Mel, maybe can you help me go forward one?
Good turn on.
Oh. These are probate fees that attorneys charge in probate. We love to do probate. The first 100 grand, attorney's fees is 4%. The next 100 grand is another 3%. Next 800,000, another 2%. Next 9 million, 1%, and so forth. These are based on gross values. So if there's a $1 million house with an $800,000 loan, we charge on the 1 million. The lawyers love it. That's why family members usually fight to become executor, because they want to get the same thing. The executor gets paid exactly the same as the lawyer. So that always brings up the question is, what is a revocable living trust? Well, we deal with trust matters every day. How many of you guys have life insurance? Everyone has life insurance, probably. It's very simple. You go to an insurance company, you have a health check, you pay the money, and you sign a contract. And the contract says, if I pass all your health checks and everything, and I kick the bucket, you pay out this amount of money. This is a contract. Once the person passes away, the beneficiary walks in there and says, here's a death certificate. And they will pay it because the contract says so. I just noticed you have one there, so I don't have to turn around. Okay. All right, now you guys do mortgages and loans and all that. Well, how does that work? There's the person, they go to the bank, they borrow money. The big money is kind of reverse of insurance. Insurance, you get little first, and then, but on a loan like this, you get the big money first. But the bank says, I really like you, but I don't trust you. So I want you to give the legal title to my trustee right there. So if you always pay me, no problem. You never even hear from this guy. But if you don't pay me, I will give you notice. And I will say, you're delinquent. And after a while, I'm going to send it to this fella. And this fellow is going to send out a notice that says, notice of default. 90 days, goes through the whole foreclosure process. Then later on, you're going to have someone standing on the front lawn, him, and he's going to sell that property. Bang! And he buys it. He signs the grant deed giving him title because he already holds title. It is a contract. There's no court involvement because you just execute upon the contract. What is a living trust? Nothing different than all of those two before. There's you. You're going to be the settlor, the creator, the trustor. Then you're going to be the trustee. You're going to hold on to the property as trustee. And while you're alive, you're also going to be the beneficiary. Now, every one of you guys who took contract law said, that's ridiculous, Mr. Wong. How can you have a contract with yourself? Well, it's very simple. The law of the state of California says, if you have a contract like that, and it is designed to keep you out of that probate court mess, we will respect it as a contract. We will also respect the contract if you have another trustee in line, the second trustee. In a husband and wife situation, is usually husband and wife as trustees. And then usually says, gee whiz, if I can't be trustee, you be trustee, right? Vice versa. And then we're both gone, we pick a third trustee. But that's the tough one. Would you pick the kids as trustee, Uncle Bob, whatever it else, but the next trustee is the most important thing. Because mom and dad would do be okay, right? But you name number one son, there's 8 kids. You know what we have a lot in the courthouse down there in downtown LA every morning? You have trustee accountings and removal petitions. Person passes away, I just pick on number one son, okay? Because I'm number 5. My wife is number 5. My daughter's number 5 grandchild. So we gotta keep working on the numbers. When you have trustees, accounting is what almost always happens, and that's why I say in a revocable living trust, picking the trustee is so important. Sometimes what happens is, I'll pick an older brother, he doesn't really do the job. The first year, I'll take care of it. Second year, I'm taking care of it. Third year, shut up, I'm taking care of it. Fourth year, screw you. You know why he says screw you? Because the money's gone. Or he mixed it with his own already. And he can't account for it. So that's why sometimes a revocable living trust can be a real bad one. So when I have clients come to my office and their kids are fighting, I tell them, look, we're going to pick a professional trustee. Wells Fargo Bank, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Not Morgan Stanley, they're in trouble with Facebook. Charles Schwab, First American Trust, Northern Trust Bank. They're professional trustees, they charge money, but the money will be there. They will conduct their trust administration just like a probate administration. In other words, now we look at this as, well, is probate bad? No, probate's not bad. We only hear the horror stories of probate. Okay? The good stories are 95% of cases just fly right through. We file the application, an executor gets appointed, the executor goes through selling the property, the money's put in the bank, and it's distributed to the kids. Why? Because the judge is standing there always, she's controlling the courtroom. She's going, behave yourself. You have things to do. Here's a timeline. I order you come back next month. I want to know the progress. Your accounting's not correct. Come back again. I want it correct. It's not correct, I'm going to fine you. So the executor is under a real big pressure to make sure everything's done diligently and correctly. But the stories we hear about probate being bad are usually just a few bad cookie cases. But it's very open in probate court. Everything's on file. Everything's public information. It's very orderly. It moves smoothly. And the judge is always there on top of the case. You're not going to get a case that's going to fall off the side. There will always be something going on. And if the executor doesn't do it, and it's not diligent, the judge can actually cite them in and sanction them for not acting diligently. Well, that's what I want. Let's talk about probate sales. Now, I'm going to guess a whole bunch of you have already done a probate sale. Probate sale is pretty nice. I usually get people that will contact me a little bit late though, the realtors. They tend to contact me after their service tells them that there's a probate file. But that's usually way down the line, like 3 or 4 months. But it's easy for you guys. Well, are you familiar with the probate notification thing? Yes, no? People hire a service that will watch your probate filings. And then they'll give you a list, and then you call the attorney. Go, hi, I want you to introduce myself. Blah, 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 I'm so-and-so realtor. I can help you sell this property, and I have great experience in doing probates. Well, you can get it way ahead of them. All you do is go down to the courthouse, look up the last number of probates. And then every week or so, just go down there and type in the next number. You know, if it's BP 0004, next week go down there and type BP 0005. Next, then type in 6 and 7, 8, they're all sequential. And you're going to find out who wants to be executor. You're going to find out who the lawyer is. You're going to find out this several months in advance of the service. So if you're close to Pasadena courthouse, you just pull up all the Pasadena ones. Central courthouse, great, because Central, even if you're in Torrance, you can file in Central. You're in Pasadena, you can file Central. All cases can be filed Central. But for convenience, we have the other branches, which are Pasadena, Pomona, and the other ones. But you can file everything in Central, and Central is the biggest. So you just go down to sequential numbers, and you find out exactly who the attorney is, they're going to sell the property, and you talk to the attorney, hey, do you have a bunch of brothers and sisters in this case? Do you need to prevent fractional interests? Now, probate sale, the commissions is limited to 5%. You cannot go over 5%, period. So what happens is you prepare a probate listing form, you write down 6%, you're telling the attorney, you've never done this before. Not good. A couple of things that are really important in probate sales is when you sell, you better use the probate forms and also use the probate advisory forms. A probate case is exempt from a few things like smoke detectors, natural hazard reports. I'm going to tell you something from my side. I hate it when I get an offer and it says natural hazard report, smoke detectors, and you mark that box. Because I always go, you can't do that, that's exempt. But on your side, if I was representing you as an agent wants to do this property, put it down anyway. Because sometimes the lawyers just go, oh, forget it, it's only 30 bucks. It's not worth arguing with them. So just put it in. You might get away with it. It happens quite often. Hey, you get 20 bucks, get 20 bucks, right? And your client will be really happy. You know, by the way, they're exempt from smoke detectors, but I got them to put it in for you. I guess they didn't hear it down there. You're exempt from, now you tell your buyer, okay, you're exempt from smoke detectors, but I got them in for you. I got smoke detectors for you. They don't have to do a natural hazard report, but I got them to do a natural hazard report for you. Okay. Now, on a sale, there's two ways to sell property in probate. One is by, if the executor or administrator has full independent powers. Full independent powers means we can go to court, get appointed as executor, sell the property. We don't have to be within 90% of the appraisal amount. We do not have to be. We're exempt from that. So we get a price that's like way under, maybe $100,000 below. But that's the best offer you can get. All we have to do is give notice to the beneficiaries, and if no one complains, and you know what, they almost never complain. They just want the money. Then the sale can go forward after 10 days with no objections. If someone objects, it has to go to court for a confirmation hearing. But people don't object. And why? Because when they go confirmation hearing, it goes out 3 or 4 months sometimes. It's going to go out a minimum of 30 days. But then there's a publication period, it might end up 2 months, and a new buyer comes in, they got a bidding process, and it gets dragged out, and the buyer walks away. That's why people don't want to object. They just want that sale to go forward, they just want the money. And that really is the case. Family members argue a lot, but when it comes down to money, they just want the money. Unbelievable, but it's true. Just give me the money, you know, just like Jerry Maguire. Now that's full independent powers. Let's say, for instance, the person does not ask for full independent powers, and they want to go in for a court confirmation hearing. You get the offer, it gets all approved, we file with the courthouse, we publish the sale, and then it becomes an auction. For a while there, during the heyday of real estate, you know, a few years ago, it was crazy down at courthouse. We'll get an offer of $700,000 for a home that's historic, which means you can't change it, right? Next thing you know, they start bidding. 700, 800. This one house finished at 1.3 million. Same house. And it was the same buyer. She just got bidded all the way up. Well, if it's a historic house, you can't really change it, so what's the value in it? You can't do anything to make it worth more. But we'll see houses going in at 200 and they finish at 3. And you go, why? Let's say the house went in for 200. We have a calculation figure for her to calculate what the next overbid is. Let's say it's $20,000 more. Then the judge goes, do I have an overbid? And you know, Thomas over here, he goes, okay, I overbid. Then the judge goes, okay, now we have the opening overbid. The next bid has to be $3,000 more, or $4,000. It's really arbitrary what the judge says, what that next overbid is. So he goes, how about $4,000? He goes, I'll get $4,000. How about you? I'll get $4,000. Next thing you know, you start getting hot, you got hot, just like eBay. Next thing you know, the price just jumps up $100,000. Now, for the last 2-3 years, there's been zero confirmation sales where there were overbids. Nobody went for an overbid. But they're starting to do that again. And the brokers are just ecstatic because they walk in, they got a sale at $200,000, they walk out at $315,000. I mean, that's great. And of course, you get your commissions paid and everything else. So the overbid process is something that's highly advantageous for the broker as well as for the estate because you get more money. So sometimes, right now, you want to go for confirmation sales. I would say in the next year or so, definitely advise your clients, and the attorneys will too. Go for a confirmation sale, bump that price up, get as high as possible. When a probate sale is done, you always sell it as is, period. Don't try to get a lot of termite work done, because a judge, if the judge is going to have to approve it, will never approve something over $1,500. You go, look, all right, $1,000. We'll let the estate pay for it. $1,200. We'll let the estate pay for it. $1,500 on the edge. But a judge will not let expense go out. The judge says, this is an as-is sale, buddy. We'll do a little work, but we're not going to spend a lot of money. We're trying to preserve as much money as we can for the estate. Personally, I would never buy a house in a as-is condition. Would you?
Yes, all things.
Oh, okay. The thing about probate sales is, if they're really, really old folks, the house is really messed up. You're gonna have to put a lot of money in. And then, of course, there's absolutely no warranties, because the executor says, I don't know anything about this house. I was the kid, I grew up here, but that was 30 years ago. So there's absolutely no warranties. You're gonna go back and try and sue this estate? Good luck. Now, you represent people who have loans against houses. That goes into probate. Make sure you file a creditor claim. Remember I talked about finding out the debts? They're going to send you a notice. Hi, do we owe you any money? You file that creditor claim, because if ever the house goes under, you want to be able to sue the estate for the money on your loan. You don't want to get caught holding the bag. Since I got 20 minutes, I think I better stop, because I think I went beyond that. If you got any questions, I'll be happy to take them.